in the heart of Liberty Valley, a city that never sleeps, where the sun's rays grapple daily with the steel and glass of skyscrapers. There walked Anita Westwood. Her life, a kaleidoscope of high-fashion runways and cutthroat corporate boardrooms, shimmered with a surface glamour envied by many. As a sales manager in the fashion industry, complemented by her stint as a part-time model, Anita had carved a niche for herself in a world that was as unforgiving as it was dazzling. Her days were a whirlwind of fabric swatches and marketing strategies, her nights a parade of high-profile events and flashing camera lights. Yet, beneath the sheen of her success, there thrummed a quieter, more introspective Anita, one who after the shows and meetings, sought the solitude of her chic apartment overlooking the city. In those moments, staring out at the twinkling lights, she felt a yearning for something more. It was a longing not for fame or further career advancement, but for a connection that was deeper, more personal and emotionally fulfilling. This yearning, persistent and growing, nudged Anita back into the tempestuous world of dating. Her previous forays into romance had been brief sparks, snuffed out by the demands of her career, or the lack of a deeper connection. But the hope for something real, something that touched her heart rather than just her mind, was a flame that refused to be extinguished. It was on a crisp autumn evening, when the city was ablaze with the colors of changing leaves, that fate played its hand. Anita, wrapped in a chic scarf and her trademark confidence, was navigating through the throngs of people on the bustling streets. Her mind was occupied with the latest collection launch, but her heart was somewhere else, lost in the labyrinth of her own desires. That's when she stumbled into Ryan Sullivan. It was a collision of two worlds, her structured vibrant realm of fashion and his unstructured passionate world of music. Ryan, with his soulful dark brown eyes and long rock star hair, was the antithesis of the clean-cut corporate types Anita usually encountered. He carried a guitar case, worn at the edges, hinting at countless nights spent strumming under the stars. Their meeting was a flurry of apologies and shared laughter, an unexpected interruption in Anita's well-orchestrated life. Ryan's easy smile and the gentle lilt in his voice, as he joked about their sidewalk tango, disarmed her. There was an undeniable charm about him, a warmth that beckoned her. In a spur-of-the-moment decision, Anita accepted Ryan's impromptu invitation for coffee. They found themselves in a quaint cafe tucked away from the city's hustle, a hidden gem that Ryan claimed was his refuge. As they talked, the world outside faded into a blur. Ryan spoke of his life as a musician, of nights filled with melodies and heartbeats, of crowds that swayed to the rhythm of his guitar. His words painted pictures of a life so starkly different from hers, yet so enchanting in its freedom and rawness. Anita, in turn, found herself opening up about her world. She spoke of the glitter and the pressure, of the exhilaration of success, and the loneliness that often accompanied it. In Ryan's attentive gaze, she felt seen, not just as the poised professional or the glamorous model, but as Anita, a woman with dreams, fears, and a heart yearning for connection. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, meandering through topics, from music and fashion to more profound discussions about life, aspirations, and the crossroads they both found themselves at. Ryan's views on life, infused with an artist's passion and a wanderer's wisdom, intrigued Anita. He listened to her with an intensity that made her feel like the only person in the world. As the night deepened, they reluctantly parted ways, but not before Ryan had scribbled his number on a napkin, urging her to call him if she ever wanted to escape the glittering cage of her world. Anita tucked the napkin into her purse, a smile playing on her lips. In the days that followed, Anita found her thoughts returning to Ryan. His words echoed in her mind, a melody that refused to fade. Against the backdrop of her busy life, Ryan was a refreshing change, a promise of something different, something more real. Their walks through the city's verdant parks were filled with laughter and light conversations. As they strolled beneath the canopy of trees, their shadows mingling on the winding paths, Anita felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in her whirlwind life. The parks were alive with the laughter of children and the gentle strum of street musicians, creating a symphony of everyday joys. Ryan would often pause to point out a particularly striking flower, or a bird perched in the branches, his observations revealing a depth and sensitivity that enchanted Anita. One day, as they walked, Ryan reached for Anita's hand, his fingers gently intertwining with hers. The simple act sent a warm rush through her, a feeling of connection that went beyond the physical touch. "You know," he said softly, his eyes reflecting the dappled sunlight. "I've always believed that music is not just in the notes, but in the silence between them. Just like life, isn't it? It's not just the moments that matter, but the pauses we take to appreciate them." Anita smiled, her heart fluttering at his words. "That's beautiful, Ryan. I've never thought of it that way." They continued their walk hand in hand, each step a shared experience in the tapestry of their growing relationship. Their exploration of art galleries was another facet of their dates. As they wandered through halls adorned with canvases and sculptures, Anita found herself seeing the world through Ryan's eyes. He spoke passionately about the art, his knowledge evident but worn lightly. In one gallery, they stood before a large abstract painting, its colors swirling chaotically on the canvas. "What do you see?" Ryan asked, his voice low and curious. Anita studied the painting, her head tilting slightly. "I see a storm, emotions clashing, fighting for dominance." She turned to Ryan, her expression thoughtful. "But there's also a sense of underlying harmony, as if despite the chaos, everything is exactly where it's meant to be." Ryan nodded, his gaze on the painting. "That's the beauty of art. It mirrors life, unpredictable, often chaotic, but with an inherent order that we sometimes only understand in hindsight." Anita and Ryan's evenings were often spent in cozy hidden restaurants, the kind of places known only to locals. Here, they shared meals in intimate settings, the low hum of conversation around them creating a cocoon of privacy. They discovered each other's favorite dishes, exchanged stories of their lives, and talked about everything from trivial day-to-day matters to their deepest hopes and dreams. The candlelight flickered on the table, casting a warm glow on their faces as they leaned in, lost in conversation. It was during these meals that Anita truly began to understand the depth of Ryan's world. He spoke of his journey as a musician, the highs and lows, the moments of doubt, and the bursts of inspiration. "Music has always been my anchor," he confessed one evening, his eyes holding a distant, reflective look. "It's my way of making sense of the world, of expressing what words alone can't." Ryan's introduction of Anita to the music scene went beyond the glamour of staged performances. He took her to small bars where local bands played, the rooms buzzing with an energy that was raw and authentic. Here, music was a living, breathing entity, each note played with passion and heart. Anita found herself swaying to the rhythms, the melodies weaving through her, awakening a part of her soul she hadn't known was asleep. One particularly memorable night was at a jazz bar, a quaint place with an old-world charm. The air was thick with the aroma of coffee and the sound of saxophones. They sat close, the music enveloping them. Ryan's hand found hers under the table, a silent message of connection. But perhaps the most magical of all were the impromptu street performances they stumbled upon. These were moments of unscripted beauty, where musicians played not for fame or fortune, but purely for the love of music. Anita watched, mesmerized, as a violinist played on a street corner, his music soaring high above the noise of the city. Beside her, Ryan's face was lit with admiration and respect. "This," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "is where you feel the heartbeat of the city. In these spontaneous bursts of creativity, in these shared experiences." Anita and Ryan found a rhythm of their own, a harmony that resonated with each step they took together. The city, with all its lights and shadows, became a backdrop to their growing bond, a bond that was as much about discovering each other as it was about rediscovering themselves.